And we are we want the gold sucker. We want the gold sucker. Cut the music off. Cut the music off. Cut the music off. Last week, it's your boy Ben Goose, and I'm coming in hot. I'm going to come in straight with the fire. Last week, I called out, if you listen to the show, I called out Sage DeMark. I called him out. This week's edition of the IRWP, we had some disagreements. Past 2 weeks, we did solo shows. It was a spring break. You can call it the I don't know if this is copyrighted. It's the March Madness, because there's a space in between the Mad and the Ness. And Sage DeMark and I, we disagreed on some stuff. Sage did a whole solo show, had his point of view. And it's funny because as I listened to the show, I went into that week thinking, this is the way wrestling needs to be. And Sage was, without even me knowing, went the other way. And last week, I showed up on the show, did the show solo. I said, you know what, Sage? We got a difference of opinion. I'm giving you 10 seconds to get out here. And he got disqualified. So I'm your boy, Ben Goosen, along with my partner in crime. You there, Sage? Sage DeMark.
Yo. I guess I'm the only one who has the camera available today. But yeah, your boy is here live. And you talking that mess, son. I told you. When I came back, stuff was about to get real, son. You don't come to my house, son. Come my house talking that mess and thinking I ain't going to say nothing about it, man. I'm back. Now what you going to say?
So I didn't turn the camera on. If you're watching the live show, I didn't turn the camera on because I'm live from Connecticut, from the studios. It's a live remote episode. Dialed in from the Connecticut studios. You know, it was interesting. You did the solo show and I disagreed before I even heard before I even listened to the show. And I've told you before, I'm going to keep it real. I don't go back and listen to a lot of shows afterwards, but except for the solo shows that you do, or if we have special guests. But I don't go back and listen to a bunch. So I listened to the show that you did solo. Amazing job, by the way. Come a long way on this show. And I listened to it, and going into the show, I thought, all right, me and Sage are going to agree. This is the way things need to go. And your show was Ronda Rousey heavy. You had a lot of thoughts and opinions on Ronda Rousey. And we disagreed on that. I mentioned it last week on the podcast. It was crazy. So let's get into this week. And I do want to talk about this week. We got a lot of topics. Next week will be a go-home show. Let's talk about some of the areas we disagreed. We got a lot to cover in and out the ring. We got some gaming we need to cover. Future of gaming. Future state of gaming. Is console gaming dead? We got to touch on that. I saved it last week.
Yeah, you did.
I saved it because I can't talk about that without you. So let's talk wrestling first. Because I was out of town a lot this week. So I watched the Hulu cut of Raw. And I have to say, and I watched the Hulu cut half of SmackDown. The audio editing is still absolutely disgustingly terrible. It's just night and day. It's just bad. You can tell when they're turning out the crowd. It's just, I respect it. Hey, look, I appreciate that you put on an hour and a half product on Hulu that I could stream. But Goosen was out of town this week. You heard last week I was out of town the other week. I had to go slap Aladdin straight in his stupid face. Take Jasmine back to the telly with me. I had to slap Mickey Mouse in his stupid face. This week, I was out of town. I was in Dallas. I had to slap the taste out of Dak Prescott's mouth. I had to tell Jason Witten, you're too damn old to be playing football. I kicked Jerry Jones in the nuts. Told him, your team's trash. And he said, who's your favorite team? I said, we ain't talking about me. He said, who's Sage DeMark's favorite team? I said, it's the Cleveland Browns. Your future champions with Kareem Hunt. They got a stacked squad, OBJ. But I digress. Let's get in this week. Raw, man. Raw didn't do it for me this week.
Yeah.
Raw. Am I? Okay. Sage DeMark's the hype man of the show. He marks out. Is Raw wasn't. It wasn't like on a 1 to 10. It wasn't a 1, but it was a solid 4 or 5, maybe.
So did you watch the Hulu cut or did you watch the Raw cut? I mean the live cut.
Straight Hulu this week. So I was on the road.
So this is my thing, man. Raw was just it was terrible. And it was unusually terrible for the Hulu version. I can't speak to the live version because I didn't watch it, but especially for the Hulu version, it was just completely terrible. And I'm going to tell you why, Goose. And this really doesn't happen a lot. So this is why I'm kind of shocked about it. There were 4 talking segments that dominated 60-70% of the entire show. Like we opened up with the talking segment, although we had a 5 or 6 minute match, with the women. And then we went to another talking segment, which I think it was Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. And then we go to break. And then we go to another talking session with Triple H in the ring promoting his thing. And this was like in the first hour. And then we had, I want to say we had one more talking session with Drew Mac or.
Yeah, before the main event.
Yeah, before the main event.
Yeah, before. And then Kurt and Joe, I think.
And then the only matches that we had on the Hulu cut was the women at the very beginning. Joe and Angle and Dean and Mac. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. Like I'm used to having like 5 matches on Hulu and we only had 3 matches on Hulu. And I count the women gauntlet matches just one match because it was literally like 6 minutes total.
Yeah. Raw was not good this week.
It was not like at all. I don't understand who signed. I want to know what matches were actually shown outside of those matches because I have a feeling that I would have much preferred some of those in the cut than a lot of those talk. Like I didn't need to see the Hunter talking segment. To me, it's not a main event thing. It's more of a nostalgia act. Give me something else. I mean,
yeah, I agree. I've still got it on DVR, so I'm gonna eventually check it out this weekend. But I mean, I think Michael Che and Colin Jost were on it, which I said a couple weeks ago. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, that was that segment time. Too, dude. 5. I forgot about that. Alexa Bliss and dude, that was 5 talking segments, man. 5 on a Hulu cut version. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So is there anything even much more to talk about Raw this week?
Look, we got to talk about it, man. I know that you and I disagree about this whole Rhonda thing. And
oh, that's right.
And I think we need to hash this out real quick, bro. Look, man, I've been doing some thinking and I still don't like her breaking the 4th wall. Well, I have no problem with her breaking the 4th wall. I just don't like her saying that it's fake and she's going out and doing the fakeness. Like to me, that doesn't sell me on the pay-per-view. It doesn't sell me on watching her matches. I think it's disingenuous. And I think there's better ways to like critique someone's fakeness. Like your armbar sucks. You don't really know how to do an armbar. Like I'm cool with that, but just saying like this whole thing is like a circus act, and then you're going out and doing that circus act, like you're not adding anything, like anything real. Like I just like I look at Shayna Baszler and what she's done to the women's division in NXT and her like showing the MMA style versus what Rhonda's doing. And it's like night and day, bro. Like if you take what Rhonda's saying and just put Shayna there, it would have made total sense. And I would have been completely on board with it.
Yeah. I don't mind the fourth wall thing, but I see your point. Is you can break the fourth wall and say it's scripted. I'm gonna beat her up. I'm going against whatever storyline they tell me, and I'm just gonna straight beat her up. Cool. But yeah, it's a tough sell when you're like, it's scripted, it's fake. We practice these moves and don't get hurt, and then you go out and sell an injury. But I still dig it because they're doing the best they can with what they got. Like WWE fans, the universe, we're appreciative of everything Rhonda's brought in this past year. You'd be stupid to say you don't appreciate everything she's brought to the table with minimal training and the eyes and the visibility from ESPN and just women in general. People know who Ronda Rousey is. But I could see your point on not being a fan of the fourth wall when you go out and sell the fourth wall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I could totally see your point.
I guess I just wish that it was like, I loved her promo this week. I thought it was one of the best promos with her dropping the mic, coming back, dropping the mic, coming back. Like I dig that completely. I thought that was like on par, amazing. I just don't like her calling something fake, but she's not doing anything to sell it as her being more realistic than them. Like Shayna Baszler's first match was her snapping someone's like arm with a kick. I think it was Kairi Sane doing that thing, and then she did it to Dakota Kai,
right,
and put her out for like that. I'm totally sold. Like that kind of promo with that kind of physicality, I'm like completely sold with. But I don't like what they're doing to Rhonda's character per se. And I think to me, it makes me feel like she's really truly like checked out after Mania, and that's not a good feeling, especially because this is the main event.
But that's the way they got to push this thing is if you can get Becky over by having a super heel in this match, you go the Brock Lesnar route. It's like tried and true, never fail. Safety play really is just, you know what?
Heel?
Ronda, yeah, she's the heel in the triple threat for sure.
I mean, she's the heel for sure, but I don't put her on par as a super heel. I feel like
she's on the same level as Brock Lesnar.
Nah, man. I think KO was better at the super heel than Ronda is right now. And it's solely because of I feel like they've neutered her. Like the Ronda super heel Ronda on social media is not this Ronda that we're getting on TV.
Ronda's a heel, right? 100% right now. She's a heel, right?
Yeah, she's a heel, but she's not a super heel. Ronda on Twitter, that's a super heel.
Is it because she can cuss?
No, it's not that she can cuss. It's just like a lot of the stuff that she says on social media doesn't, except for when she does her Instagram live videos, it's not revolving around cussing. It's just more of like what she says to try to discredit her opponents just comes off like super heelish. The problem is Becky's got a better Twitter face.
Yeah, she does.
Than Ronda does. So it just kind of, it feels like it's neutered, but I feel like her strong opinions about calling things fake on Twitter didn't go very well in the back. Speculating didn't go really back, and it's not translating very well online. You notice that they haven't really talked about their Twitter beef, but they're not shy about doing that for other people.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's reasons. I mean, with the cuss words and all that they don't bring it up. But I like what they're doing with Ronda right now. Like, if she's on her way out, like people think, then you're just going with the, you know what? Let's just go the Brock Lesnar route. I'm surprised she hasn't teamed up with Heyman yet, and just crap on everybody like you don't care about them. So it's working. And then we'll get into what we really think about this women's main event when we talk about SmackDown here in a bit. Yeah. But rest of Raw, man. Anything else to cover on Raw? Kind of feel like it's probably not.
No. So you know what last week you didn't talk about is this Kurt Angle and his final match, man.
Because I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about him fighting Baron Corbin.
But do you really think that he's going to fight Baron Corbin? Because I don't think he's really going to fight Baron Corbin.
I thought about talking about it last week, but then I thought that's better for the go home show or the well, I guess go home show, the preview show.
So just yes or
You
no,
want me
do
to
you
our-
feel like he's going to fight Baron Corbin? We could speculate next week about who he's really going
I
to
already
fight.
know
Who we think he really is going to fight.
okay. He is 150 million% going to have a match with Baron Corbin based on what my thought is on WrestleMania. I'm not going to say it till next week, but I'll say he will 100% have a match with Baron Corbin at WrestleMania.
Okay.
I'm not saying that match is going to last more than 30 seconds and then he's going to have a second match with somebody else.
True that.
Who might be an actor these days or might have a funny haircut and jean shorts, but
could also see. Could also be a blood relative.
Yeah, you mentioned that 2 weeks ago. We will certainly see. We'll get into the specifics next week, so we have time to dwell on it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Before we get into SmackDown, I don't know how to approach this next topic because we talk about Ronda Rousey and Raw and how Raw was boring and how there's certain things in Raw that were boring, kept out of the Hulu cut, and some topics that were boring, and just thoughts on why are we thinking this today when we're thinking when something can change in the future, like with Ronda Rousey, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I go back to you and talking to you a couple weeks ago on our boyfriend from Empire, Jussie Smollet, this week. Talk about having thoughts a month ago, then having new thoughts 2 weeks ago, then having new thoughts this week. All charges dropped on your boy. Before I know it's a wrestling podcast, we've got to talk about this dude for sure.
Yeah, we got to talk about it, son.
I think you may have told me offline a couple weeks ago, man, there might be some more to this story, but I don't know. So charges were dropped. He, bail money and community service. So just tell me right now, do you think he did something wrong with the false police reports and all that, or no? Or do you think there's still more questions to be asked and stuff to figure out?
So this is all right. So if you guys don't like what I got to say, y'all put something in the chat. I don't care. I'll listen. I don't care. So this is what I said, man. I kind of said this from the beginning. And if he did it, like, it's fucked up. And I think that he should be reprimanded for what he did. But as I had told you offline, I feel like this story is a little too convenient, and I feel like it's a little off-ish. It's kind of weird that the detectives were able to pull like so much information. Like when you subpoena something especially from a carrier, it doesn't take it usually takes like 30 days or more to get that information, just because it has to go through the legal department and things like that, especially like if it doesn't involve like children.
And there was clearly no like, are you talking about like the cell phone?
Yeah, the cell phone text messages and stuff like that. The communication.
Well, there was no like children or murder or rape or anything like that in this case.
When children are involved, you can get things expedited a lot quicker. Like you can,
big cases. Right. Yeah.
Subpoenas typically work a lot quicker, and especially if like the FBI is involved, like they can pull things a lot quicker than cities do. So I thought that it was really, really quick to judgment that they were able to get all that information and then like lay it out for the entire world to see. Like these were the timelines and this happened, and like this wasn't a sting operation, but this is kind of what happened, and this is Like, to me, that was just kind of fishy, especially because I know that cell phone record or cell phone text messages can be spoofed from different numbers. If you don't believe
Right.
me, open up a Google account and or a Google Voice account and just let it ring for 30 days and call the number back that calls you, because I guarantee it won't be the number that actually called you to begin with. So those can be spoofed all the time. Text messages can be spoofed all the time as well. The how do I say, the officers started out by saying, hey, he sent them a $3,000 check. And then I'm thinking to myself, why in the world would I like put something in document in writing for this, like to trace back to me if I knew that this was what my intent was, right?
Right.
It just didn't make any sense. Like, I would never put a paper trail for something like I mean, I don't condone any of this or anything like that, but the brother's not dumb either at the same time. Like, he would have taken steps to make sure that none of this would have been traced, at least some inkling of a way to divert it from coming back to him. But there was none. It was like straight through, and the police kind of just laid it out that way. I felt like it was just something was just wrong. Something was off, man. And I'm not saying that the police are at fault in terms of like they're just trying to pin it on this guy, but I just, the evidence is just too suspect.
So you think there's more to find out still?
I agree. I do, man.
And we'll never find it out.
I mean, unless we can get those records unsealed, you know, and it's possible that maybe the FBI is getting involved because they were intercommunication text messages and stuff like that. That's usually the jurisdiction of the FBI. And I thought that hate crimes were considered to be federal, not state, which I was kind of surprised that the state picked that up. But just to me, just seemed too convenient.
I think it's
didn't
over.
say anything about ruling out that it could have been like that the number could have been spoofed. And these Hollywood actors, like, they usually have assistants, and I'm not saying that it was his assistant that did it, but they have other people, assistants, that have access to their phones as well. So who's to say that he wasn't the one that actually sent those particular text messages as well? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if he did it or not, but I think that, truth be told, punishment kind of fits a crime. Like, he had to pay 10 G's. So think about it right now. If I called in right now, if I picked up the phone and called the cops and said, hey, man, some dude kicked my ass. Two dudes kicked my ass down the street. I don't know who did it. Here's my cell phones. I'm sure there's videos, whatever is outside a gas station. And then the cops find out, say, 3 months later, 2 months later, a month later, whatever. They call me and say, hey, man, we heard you on the podcast say, yo, Sage Mark, come beat me up. I'm going to give you $500. I'm going to give you $5,000. The cops are going to say, hey, man, you're under arrest. That's a false police report. You wasted our time. Then I'm going to go to court and I'm going to say, yo, look, this will never happen again. Put me on probation. And they're going to say, all right, give me $2,000 and do 40 hours community service. This dude paid 10 G's and he's got to do a lot of community service. So I think charges were dropped.
Do any community service. All he had to do was just pay the 10 G's.
He's done a ton of community services.
Yeah, they said that he's done a lot of community service, so they took that into account and dismissing the case, which to me that seems kind of suspect as well. Like, I don't.
It's just to get it off the plate, because think about it. Like I just mentioned, if it was me who did it, I'd pay probably $2,500 and that'd be the end of it. And then I'd pay my lawyer whatever his fees were. This guy, assuming he did it, he made a false police report. Most people would probably pay $2, $3, $4 tops. He said, you know what? I'm going to give you 10 grand. And then look at how much I already do for the community. So, I mean, plea or not plea, he already got punished more than the average Joe for just a fake police report. There's no victims here.
Assuming that he did it.
That's correct. Assuming he did it.
Yeah.
The punishment to me fit the crime.
Assuming that he did it, I don't think the punishment really does fit the crime, because if it was me or you that were in that same situation, like we wouldn't have gotten that type of leniency at all.
No, but we would be paying, and I'm not talking about legal fees. We're not going to get into that. But we would be paying less than $10,000 to the state.
Well,
And
you did hear what they were doing, right?
No.
Yeah, so after he gave the press conference, or no, actually today, the city, at the behest of the mayor, is billing Jussie Smollet for all of the overtime and all the investigation fees and all that straight to him. So, and the city's got to be careful because they're sitting there, they're trashing this dude after he's already in the court of law has been exonerated. I hate to use that word, but that's essentially what it is. He's been exonerated. The fee or everything's been expunged from his record, and they're going out and they're trashing him after the fact. So they got to be careful, man, because if they continue to do this, I mean, he's got a good case for slander.
Yeah, the reputation damage for sure. But it just depends. It's one of those things where it's like when you get a speeding ticket and you walk in and you say, hey, man, I went speeding, you're innocent. All right, cool, I'm innocent, thanks. $50 court fee. And you're like, I'm innocent. Why am I paying court fees? So I think the fees will be tacked on, but the reputation is a big thing here on the line. Let's move on because we don't need to talk about Jussie.
Dude, if you need to, I'm just letting you know, Jussie, real quick, bro. If I know you might not get your job back from Empire, but AEW is hiring, so what's good?
Maybe he should go into the wrestling business. He'd be a manager, clearly, because he's not like a huge dude. He's not the biggest guy. Yeah. He'd be in 205 or a manager, wouldn't he?
He'd be a manager. I don't even think he could take on Spud, but I just...
Yeah. Before we get into SmackDown, and before we talk about the women's title, the women's
debacle,
what's shaping up, the women's division and how it's very one-sided right now.
Yeah.
I went and saw a movie this past week. I went and saw this movie called... I went and saw Us.
Oh, no spoilers, man.
No. I will never ever spoil anything without saying spoilers first.
That's true.
No, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Your attention and say, "Oh yeah, the snap wasn't really the snap. It was something in NXT or something like that. There was some convoluted."
I've definitely pulled that on you, but you got to admit, I kept the you have to admit I kept the Thanos snap from you for what, 6 months?
Yeah, you did. I suspected that that's what it was, but you did keep it from me, man. So it was just one of those moments where when I saw it, I was like, "Damn it, Goose." I specifically asked you if it had something to do with Thanos, and you were like, "Nope, it was something on Reddit."
Yep,
some story on Reddit. And I was like, "Come on, man."
I couldn't spoil that. That was one thing I couldn't spoil for you. So I saw Us by Jordan Peele, his second directed movie. You saw Get Out, right?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think of Get Out?
I liked it, man. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my expectations of what it was nowhere near what it actually was, which I absolutely loved because a lot of the actors on there, I liked them from other projects, especially the mom from 6 Feet Under.
Yep, yeah,
loved her work there. Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was amazing, and I like the fact that so many people kept it like under wraps about what it was about. So
yeah, so Mrs. Goosen and I saw it, and I said, "Babe, let's watch it. We're an interracial couple. Let's watch this movie. I think it's about interracial couples. I don't really know what it's about." We redboxed it, and she thought it was a romantic comedy, and she thought it was a different movie. And halfway through it, she was like, "What are we watching?" I was like, "Man, this is Get Out. This movie's amazing." It was just what I loved about Get Out was that it was a brand new story, which it won the Oscar for being a brand new story. So I watched Us this past week, and I will recommend it because it's I wouldn't say it's great. I need some time to sit on this one.
So is it a dollar theater or is it a red box movie? Or is it a one I should go out and see right now? It's got to be one of those three.
It's not one. So all right, the movie's been out it's been out a week already. And if you haven't heard spoilers about it, then it's a red box movie that you can watch with you or Mrs. the Mark. But you have to watch the whole thing without picking up the phone. Like that's the difference. You know when you go to the movies, you don't pick up your phone, you're not texting, you're like paying full attention, right?
Yeah.
It's a movie you do not want to put your phone down for because you need to be able to talk about it later on. And what I can't figure out yet is I know after seeing it today, I know that there's an underlying meaning to the movie. I just can't figure it out yet.
It's like
So
This Is America. In terms of the different messages, it could be interpreted different ways.
That is the best description of the movie I could ever think of. And I'm not tying it directly to This Is America. When This Is America came out, you watched it. The first time you see the video, you're like, damn, Childish Gambino, Donald Glover's trying to dance in this video?
Mm-hmm.
But then you watch it again and again and again, and it's like a total... And I'm not saying this is what Us is about. I'm just kind of relating metaphors here. This Is America was like, hey, this is current state in America. I'm just going to make a music video for 2 minutes. It's about current state of America. People would rather Snapchat stuff than help somebody else out in violence and all this stuff. And Us, when you see it, the whole movie goes through whatever. So I know that there's there's got to be something underlying to it that I just don't know what it is. So I'll probably go on Reddit or talk to cats. But other than that, the acting was all right. I'm right now giving it maybe a 6 out of 10. I don't know why people are giving it a 9 out of 10.
So
but I mean,
let me ask if
it's definitely an original story. It's never been done before.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me ask. Go ahead.
No, you're good, because this kind of ties into what I was going to ask you. Had you not seen Get Out, would your opinion of this movie be different?
It'd be worse.
It'd be worse. Okay.
100%, because I went in already to this movie with low expectations, because it was a guy made a great movie last year. Statistically speaking, what are the chances he's going to make another great movie again? And I went in thinking, just going with no expectations, just going to have fun. And it is what I would have expected.
Okay.
If Get Out had never been made. That being said, the acting isn't terrible. The story isn't bad. You just need to. I just need somebody to. Maybe I'm not smart. Maybe somebody will say, "Yo, Goose, oh, individual, you're stupid." But I need somebody to explain the movie to me. Put it that way.
Okay. So what you're saying is you want me to go and watch the movie this week so we can have a conversation about it next week.
If you have time, but don't go out of your way. You know what?
That was a dig, bro. That was a dig.
If I have to tell you, don't go out of your way to see it, then that solidifies that it's a red box movie.
Gotcha.
Because you have to go out of your way to see a dollar movie.
Yeah.
You don't have to go out of your way to see a red box movie.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I read some articles or some commentary today on Reddit, and people had a bunch of different thoughts. So if Jordan Peele made the movie to say, yo, I'm going to open up your mind to a lot of shit. Go out and have your own thoughts. Have a good day. Thank you. Take it easy. Then he succeeded.
Yeah.
But if he had his own thoughts, because I'd just be interested in there's more to the story. I need to sit on it. But remember, I'm also a guy who said the Avengers was trash. But then now I'm watching the Thanos snap and watching Avengers all the time. The Infinite Gauntlet or Infinite War, whatever it's called, all the time on Netflix. So yeah, I mean, speaking of Avengers, man, during the previews to the movies, we got a lot of stuff coming out this summer. We got some heaters, bro.
Sure as hell, bro. I know it.
Yo, all right. So,
man.
all right. What are you looking forward to? And we'll keep it quick. But what are you looking forward to over the next? Is this April, May, June, July? 4 months.
I mean, obviously that Aladdin movie looks like off the chain, bro.
Oh God.
Yeah, I got to see that Aladdin movie. You know what I mean? Of course, A4, which is next month. I think it's the 26th. We were supposed to be doing something with the podcast that week because it's coming out on a Thursday.
That's right.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. This one's gonna catch you guys by surprise, but that Dora the Explorer movie actually looks pretty decent. Oh,
I haven't seen a trailer. Is it like live action or is it CGI?
And it's a live action, no CGI, live action. Yeah, and out the gate, it looks pretty decent. I think this is probably the first live action Hispanic / Mexican kids film.
Interesting.
From Nickelodeon or Disney for that sake. That's coming out. So that's pretty interesting. I think that's good. They got a lot of funny actors on there. They got Danny Trejo on there and
wow,
a couple other people. And then last but not least, I don't know if I mean John Wick, of course, but
yeah, that's mandatory. John Wick and Lion King are mandatory.
The Lion King. I'm still kind of, I don't know if I want to see that or not.
You can't not. Like, it's just an automatic to me. And I have 2 Lion King shirts. Maybe that's what it is. It's an automatic, like, even if the movie sucks, just watching it. And I hope, and I've seen Lion King movie a million times, the Broadway show. Hopefully they add a little. So with the live action remake, and granted, we ain't talking about real live lions and all that, but I think they'll go the route like they did. Actually, you know what's dope? I think it's called. They've done 2 movies with the Jungle Book. I think Mowgli is on Netflix.
Mowgli, yes.
But what was the one? Mowgli was done by. It's not done by Disney, right?
No, it's not done by Disney. It's actually based off of the original book, which is why I liked the Netflix version so much. It was a Netflix original.
The Jungle Book was redone by Disney a few years back, right?
Yes.
And Mowgli kills that.
Yeah, man. That's how the Jungle Book is supposed to be, man. That's why, like, dude, that was one of my favorite stories growing up. Like the book version is my favorite story growing up because it's dark, man. It's dark, but it's like real life. Like, it's kind of like,
yeah. I walked past my wife. She was doing laundry or something, and I walked past. She had Netflix on. And I saw a little tribal kid talking some shit to a snake and a cat, and I'm like, "Fuck you watching? You need to be watching Jungle Book. Like, this is, this kid's legit.
Yeah.
Is this Mowgli? Is this Mowgli?" And there was no bare necessities. There was none of that. He was just like, it was like, if somebody, man, Mowgli's great. Watch it on Netflix.
Yeah. A lot of Merkin in that movie, man. A lot of Merkin in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my list of summer blockbusters, I got to go with Hobbs and Shaw to support my boy The Rock. It's a real wrestling podcast. It's going to support Dwayne Johnson, Idris Elba, the most beautiful man in America. and Jason Statham. You have those three dudes in one movie. It's going to be a blockbuster.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
I saw a preview today for La Llorona. That movie is going to be the biggest blockbuster movie of all. That La Llorona is going to sell out. It's going to be so huge.
The
Just in
crying
LA,
lady?
and yeah, the crying lady. You're from
Okay.
San Antonio. You know about La Llorona.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
going to be.
I couldn't tell by the way you were pronounced it, man. I was like, what the
Nah,
fuck
I was
are you
trying.
trying
I
to
was trying to
say?
put the Mexican twist on the
La,
La
La
Llorona.
Llorona, bro.
Because you're coming in with the double L's. La Llorona. You got to roll the R's. La Llorona or La Llorona. However you want to
Llorona.
pronounce
I thought you were singing that 1970 song, My Sharona. I was like, what
it.
the?
La Llorona is gonna be the biggest movie of all time in Los Angeles and San Antonio and nowhere else.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna check it out. What else did I see a preview of today? There's a Pet Cemetery coming out. I'll probably check it out.
No new Saw movie?
No, I read the other day that one, the last one, that trash one I saw
I wasn't trash.
was
I finally saw it. It was pretty good, man. I liked it.
I think it was on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it was on Netflix. Amazon. I think I caught it on Amazon.
Amazon, you're right. It was on Amazon. Amazon Prime. Yeah, it was horrible. That was a trash movie. Let's move on. Let's move on to some trash.
Let's
Out with
get
the
it.
trash. Actually, does Bad Boys come out this year or next year?
It comes out next year, man. But just a fun fact, like they were originally it was I don't know, it's kind of weird. Originally they were going to do a reboot with younger stars,
Yeah.
and no Will Smith and no Martin Lawrence. And whoever was the guy who proposed, or guy or girl who proposed that, yeah, y'all need to be unemployed working community service for the rest of your life. That's probably the dumbest thing
No,
I
come
ever heard.
on, Sage. They need to be
Nah,
they need to be writing Monday Night Raw. They probably are writing
that's
Monday Night
true.
Raw because it's not a good
That's true.
idea.
That's slightly worse.
Yeah. Let's get into SmackDown. Highlights of SmackDown. So I didn't get to, because I was on the road. I didn't get to watch the gauntlet. So go ahead and spoil it for me. Did the New Day win the tag team gauntlet?
So the New Day did win the tag team gauntlet. It was actually pretty good. It was a great gauntlet match itself. I think there was like 3 tag teams. They squashed the Good Brothers. The second one was the the Bar, and
Yeah.
and the Bar, after they lost, they put a severe beat down on Biggie, put him through a table in the ring, and then the Usos came out. They were still cleaning out the debris in the ring. The Usos, were kind of selling, hey, we're gonna beat them right here and there. And I was thinking to myself when they were like that, I was like, man, wouldn't it be great if the Usos just laid down for them for the 3 count? Like, to me, I was like, man, that would be some Hogan-esque stuff, man, if they did that. But they actually asked for the mics, and I was like, oh my God, they're gonna do it. Oh my God, they're gonna do it. And they came out and say, oh, we respect the New Day and everything that they do, and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna forfeit. They forfeited the match, which that was supposed to be it. And then they ended up announcing that Daniel Bryan and Rowan were going to be their last opponents. They dispatched of them. That was actually a really, really, really good match. Disposed of them for the 1, 2, 3, and Kofi is going to WrestleMania. Now, here's the rub. At the beginning of the show, they had the New Day came out saying that basically they were gonna quit, but that before they even do that, they need to get some answers from Vince McMahon. Now, I could just be the mark in me when I say this, but Vince McMahon was saying, hey, Kofi, you've had your opportunities. Go to the back. We need to know if these B+ players can are B+ tag teams. Like, that was his specific phrasing for this whole thing. And he said that if if you guys win your gauntlet match, then Kofi will go to WrestleMania. But he didn't say that he was going to be going to WrestleMania to fight Daniel Bryan for the belt. So at the end, after they won, at the end, they interviewed Vince McMahon, and he kind of reiterated that Kofi's going to WrestleMania. But hold on. At the beginning of the match, or the beginning of the show, he said that if a B+ player can actually beat Daniel Bryan, was the phrasing. That's what he wanted to know, if a B+ player could beat him. At the end of the show, he said that Kofi's going to WrestleMania, but didn't say if he was going to fight Daniel Bryan. So this is what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think next week he's going to say that Big E or Xavier is going to fight. How do I say? I think he's going to somehow start sowing the seeds for a New Day breakup. The B+ players is going to end up being someone other than Kofi going to WrestleMania. And I think that we won't actually get Kofi at WrestleMania, Kofi to fight the title until we get to WrestleMania. I'm sorry, I know that sounded all convoluted.
Yeah, it did big time. I don't know I don't know what's going on.
So I think
luckily I watched the beginning of SmackDown.
I think there's going to be some shenanigans going on next week. I don't think that we're going to get a definite answer if Kofi's going to fight him until WrestleMania.
So, I kind of took it as in when Vince called out X-Man and Big E, I started to think, you know what? If that information sticks with those two dudes, they may be like, wait. Like, think about it. If I was in a tag team and somebody said, hey, Goose, Sage, y'all got to fight. So, Kofi gets a shot at WrestleMania. I'd say, all right, let's do this. We'll go through the gauntlet. Then I get my ass kicked in the gauntlet, go through a table, all that. Backstage, I'd be like, yo, Sage, I know he's our boy and all, but Vince and Daniel were right. Dude lost twice, so why are me and you fighting? So this dude gets a main event title shot. So Sage, I'm just telling you. I mean, he had a couple chances to win, and he didn't win. We had a chance to win, and we won, but he's getting the title shot? And we're supposed to be a team that supports one another? So why aren't me and you getting the title shot? If we're some team, and then boom, I clothesline Kofi in the back of his head.
Yeah.
So if they go that route, I could see it with a New Day breakup. But or if this is just maybe Kofi's fighting Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, and we'll get into this next week, obviously. If Kofi fights Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, and it's not necessarily about Kofi fighting Daniel Bryan, but the beginning of the New Day breakup story. Like last year, we had Nakamura turn on AJ, and it was more of the beginning of their story as opposed to a highlight WrestleMania match. You know what I mean?
That's where I think it's going, man. I think that as much as we want to see Kofi have the championship, I think it's probably more beneficial to have
long term, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, long term to have the New Day breakup. And that's not to say that we won't get the first Black African WWE champion. It just won't be Kofi. It'll likely be Big E.
Or you, or me.
And that's true. I mean, I am half German though, but I digress.
Well, you'd be the first German champ too.
This is true. This is true.
But yeah, we'll see where that ends up.
Yep.
Now let's get into the highlighted
storyline, man. This is probably the number one or number two, my most favorite, or not my most favorite, but my most interesting match going into WrestleMania. So storyline going into WrestleMania.
I agree. And speaking of WrestleMania, when you talk about WrestleMania matches, I said last week, I'm not going to bring it up this week just for time's sake, because I'm back in action after 2 weeks with my boy Sage Mark. The worst WrestleMania card of all time.
Yeah,
Probably bring it up next week. I said I was going to bring it up this week, but didn't have time to do the true research because I do want to watch some of the. No, you know what? I probably shouldn't watch some of the matches. I should just look at the match listings. Still trying to figure out what's the worst WrestleMania card on paper before WrestleMania goes down. But let's finish up with SmackDown on the highlight of the week. That is Charlotte versus Asuka. So I got a text. Unfortunately, in my schedule this week, I was trying to watch. I was trying to finish SmackDown, the Hulu cut, which really only cuts out 30 minutes, and then I got a bunch of tech spoilers. Asuka sucks, and Asuka sucks. Maybe this was man. Asuka sucks, and it sucks. That's all I could say.
yeah.
Who is she fighting in Mania?
So that's the thing. So this whole thing got changed. Like something happened. I don't know what it was, but something completely happened because the plan was Tuesday. They had already announced a fatal 4-way match, and the winner of that fatal 4-way was going to fight Asuka at WrestleMania. That was the plan. We had Naomi, we had Carmella, we had Fire and Desire. All four of them were going to hash it out. And out of nowhere, Charlotte Flair comes out, and I, from the moment that she hit the ring and Asuka came out, and I was live streaming a game of Apex Legends, and I'm gonna upload this because this is my reaction in real time. Oh my god. Please don't let this be for the title. This is for the women's championship. Oh shit. Charlotte's gonna win the damn title.
Yep.
And once she won the title, I stopped watching SmackDown for the rest of the night. I didn't watch it for the rest of the night. I watched the Gauntlet match after on Hulu cut the next day. I didn't watch it the rest of the night. I am so disgusted, and so is many people in the world. We are disgusted with this. I don't know where to begin, man. I literally don't know where to begin. What they've done to Asuka has just been a complete travesty. She won the
Like
title
Nakamura, right?
and Nakamura, and it feeds into my theory that I seriously don't believe that they really care about Japanese stars. I think that they just can't get it past the language barrier, and they just that's it. That's where they check out, and I don't think it's fair. I understand this is a business, but that's why they created managers. And if you're that worried about it, if their in-ring is superior, their in-ring ability is superior, and they don't hurt people while they're in the ring, they're able to communicate with their partner in the ring, you can compensate with the manager. And if you refuse to do that, then that's on you. I don't think it's fair for the women's division for Charlotte to be carrying Charlotte hasn't won a match on SmackDown this year. Let that sink in. She hasn't won one match on SmackDown
How did you get a title shot?
in
Did I miss something?
2019. She did. That's the thing. There, this whole thing, like I'm totally speculating. One or two things this has to be one of two things. Either they wanted to have Charlotte have the belt so that they can either unify the titles at Mania, which would go to the theory that the brand split is almost at an end, or they purely did this to make the card, the main event card, look better, to kind of show that, hey, we have women's titles on both brands. One's going to SmackDown, one's going to Raw.
I'd go with the latter.
And
you have two champions in one match, and Becky's going to come out on top.
But why? You could have made this a fatal 4-way, and it would just been as great. Or you could have ejected Charlotte out of the match, out of the 3-way match, and made it a one-on-one match between Charlotte, or between her and Asuka, which that would have been.
They did last year, though. But they did that
do it
last
last year. But they did this. They're doing this 2 weeks before. Like it's
to hype up the first ever women's main event match at Mania, and truth be told, I'm kind of cool with it, man. Like, I'm not cool with
single-handedly destroyed an entire division.
I'm not cool with what happened to the SmackDown Women's division, and that Asuka lost to Charlotte again. But I am okay with the fact that I can settle with the fact that it makes the women's main event, regardless of what titles are on the line, have two champions. Think about it. The most over person in that triple threat is not a champion.
She shouldn't be in the feud.
The most over person's Becky Lynch, right? We're agreeing on that, right?
Yeah. True. Sorry.
And she's the most over person, so when she does win the match, it'll give us, because these are just my early predictions. I'm gonna say this next week. Becky Lynch is winning the match.
What if she doesn't, Goose? What if Charlotte wins the match and unifies the title?
And she's a double champ.
She's a double champ. Look, think of this. Charlotte wins.
Yo, what if Charlotte wins and she pins Becky? No, Becky taps again because she just came off a pay-per-view where she was tapping.
Yeah,
in the Royal Rumble.
You do that. You destroy Becky's momentum. You destroy both.
And she tapped to Asuka, didn't she?
Yes. And you destroy both women's divisions. Like, where do you go from there? This is terrible. Terrible. And I'm not someone who really tries to criticize the WWE for their booking decisions, but you destroyed your women's division. The Mae Young Classic means nothing at all. The women's evolution means nothing. You basically sold yourself out to the devil for some screen time instead of I don't know, man. Nobody wanted
Not
it.
a fan. Sage Mark is not a fan. Not a fan of what's going on.
Man. Nobody wanted this.
We'll get into our predictions next week on what's actually happening at the Royal Rumble, because hopefully we get something. And think about it, we haven't even hit the Lacey Evans era. Like, clearly there's a push going in for Lacey Evans, and I think she'll really start having matches after Mania. Let's talk about something.
I don't think Asuka's resigning. I think that's what it is. I'm upset.
We'll see. Asuka and Nakamura. I mean, we'll see. We'll see where those guys end up. Anything else on SmackDown that we should get into this week?
Nah, man. That's pretty much it. Like I said, that's the big story of the week. Yeah, man. Dude.
Sage Mark is not a fan.
Week, bro.
Sage Mark is not a fan.
I know we're trying to go to another topic, but I'm upset, man. I'm upset. Shame. Low down, dirty shame.
All right, let's switch topics here because I want to ask you a question. I held this off last week. Console gaming dead in 10 years?
Oh man, it's starting to look like it, man. With more and more console, what do they call them? We don't call them publishers, right? Just developers or whatever.
Call them what you want. This is our podcast. This ain't yours.
Yeah,
you call them whatever we want. We own this.
These console makers are already showing us shit.
Hold on, Sage. We own this podcast. Nobody tells us what we do. We're our own boss. Now, if somebody comes and tells us, like, hey, man, we'll give you a couple G's, we'll get a couple sponsors, yeah, I mean,
I just want some free time.
Sell out. We'll sell out. Yeah, I'll sell out in a heartbeat.
Look, man, for the past couple of years, we've kind of seen this shift, especially from these console makers in terms of, we went from every 3.5, 4 years, a new console to like every 5 to 6 years, new console. We've seen more and more of them ejecting themselves from E3 in lieu of their own conferences.
Yeah, great point. Very good point.
We've seen less and less first-party titles from these companies as well. the writing's on the wall, man. And I hate to say this, but Nintendo is probably first to kind of start this trend, and maybe it's the right move. But look, if I can play a triple A title using just a Chromecast and a controller, there's literally no reason to have a console. I mean, most console. I mean, just think about it. Outside of gaming, what do you use your console for?
Stuff, other things that smart TV has, YouTube, Netflix, etc.
Exactly. So, like, if I can play my games without the $600 price tag to buy the console, yo, I could invest that money that I would have put in that into more games. Like, I'm good, man. I'm good, B. I'm good. It's like, I, this is the way gaming. Like, we saw it, man. They were getting rid of discs. Um, They were in favor of digital, so that way they can control it more. We have digital libraries now. Let's be honest, we don't really all play with our friends anymore. No phrasing, whatever. It's not as big as when we were growing up, when the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 were out, and the PlayStation 3 with the
And
network
everything was offline.
capability.
Yeah.
Everything was offline. So we got like the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox. Was it 360?
Yeah.
That's when we were heavy into network connected games, but now we're into streaming games and people watching us as opposed to us playing with other people. Phrasing again. So it's not it's not unconceivable that a company was going to eventually come in, and I thought it was Steam at first, but a company was going to come in and make a platform that was completely cloud based and that it would be adopted. And I think that time is now.
It's crazy that we're getting to that point, right?
Yeah.
That all games will be online, and it's just a matter of, and I guess this has been a kind of forever in the making and just really expensive to do.
Yep.
It's just a matter of how quick can I access your server and how fast will my internet run. So that way, when I press left on the joystick, my character moves left. There's minimal ping, latency, and stuff. But we're hitting that era.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, Google, and what we're referencing, everyone, just for those who are not aware, Google had their press conference last week in which they announced a new gaming platform called Stadia. Um, the conference itself was largely meant for the developer audience, publishers. I'm sorry, the game publishers, so those who actually create the game. Um, but it gave some insight into where they were going from a like from a company perspective. They have this new branch called Stadia, is it gaming and entertainment, which I have some speculations that we'll go into in a bit here. But not to bore anyone with the technical specs on it. I'll do a video separate from theirs to go over the specific specs and why they matter. Um, but it's, essentially it could do away with this whole this console war thing, where if I'm playing Call of Duty on Xbox, actually I should say it the other way around, Goose. If Goose is playing on Xbox and I play on PlayStation 4 and we can't play with each other, this Google Stadia will actually eliminate that and allow us to play in together regardless of what console that we decide to choose. And that's even if you do decide to own a physical console. It gives the developers the opportunity to allow users from different consoles to play together. Um, it also will allow, because of the way that the servers are set up, it'll actually allow for a larger amount of people to have a gaming session. So a lot of the Fortnite users or battle royale uh, gamers, that like those kind of things, instead of being limited to, what is it, like 30 on 30 right now? Is that
Yeah,
what?
100 people in a game.
Yeah, we could have a total of 1,000 people playing simultaneously in one session. So we could have like 500 on 500, which would be like amazing for a war type game. And all of the processing is offshooted to Google servers, so you don't have to worry about the latency issues.
So it's the developers, carriers, and hosters who are taking on the responsibility of making sure the game works well,
Right. And
which is
Google is just
nice
providing
because
the infrastructure.
correct, because Google
For
has unlimited money to be able to do this stuff.
yeah. So
Did you hear that they're streaming? If you want to stream for anything, did you hear about where it's going to go to?
no, what did you
It's going to go straight to YouTube.
okay, straight to
And
you.
who owns YouTube?
That's cool.
And for you to even have the capability, so Google did, and Google was sly when they did this. They did a processor test and they said they went out and bought one of the most inexpensive laptops they could find to make sure that the streaming capabilities would be okay and the processor speed.
That's our laptops, right?
Yeah, for mine for sure. And they said the cheapest thing could do it. The crappiest computer could do it. However, you have to have internet connectivity. And what's the name of that company that introduced that fiber thing?
That's right. That Googleness, man. That Google Fiber.
So for you to play these video games, you got to get with Google Video Games, but you might as well have Google Fiber Internet to link it into your Google account. And what Google did into your YouTube account, which Google owns, and Google is the master, not so much of search, all that good stuff, but data is currency with Google.
For sure.
So they are the masters of selling data and saying in the world, hey, you want data on anything? Yo, we got you. So they're just linking everything together, man. It's amazing. State of the world's amazing. State of the world's amazing. Not inside the ring, outside the ring. Do we have anything else to cover this week? I feel
just real quick on that Stadia, just to kind of end. So you will be able to stream in 4K with an upscale to 8K when it starts to make its rounds here and there. But this is just pure speculation. There's nothing, no reports out on whether or not Google's going to do this. But I think that if they can get this platform working in general, that if they can get the gaming part of it platform done correctly, I think this will open up the gateway for the entertainment side, specifically theatrical movies that are in like in the movie theaters on day one. It'll allow for them to be able to stream that on a home system.
how far away are we away? Because right now you have surround sound in your house, you have HD, you have 4K.
You got everything you need.
But but movies still make billions in the box office at theaters. Why are we not at a point where movies are going straight to consumer and going straight to movie theaters?
It's lobbying, man. That's it. It's the same argument on why San Antonio can't get a national football team here.
So are you telling me you'd rather see Avengers Endgame in your bedroom than at the theaters?
I would.
Okay, and then how many people think that same way? Because for
So
big budget, big action, Transformers, Avengers, I want to see it in a theater. But for you know what? Let's go back to earlier what we talked about. But for us, you asked me, Goose, is this a red box dollar theater or do I need to go see it? Based off of what I'm saying now and my thoughts now, which I was wrong earlier, you need to see this in your bedroom. Because to me, my thought is the only thing you need to see in theaters is a movie with Dwayne Johnson, because you're going to see a lot of crazy explosions, but basically a movie with a bunch of action and CGI. But if it's a movie like an Oscar movie or like a movie with a great story, you should just watch it on TV. There's no reason to see it on the big screen.
So this is my theory, man. The only media industry that has not been affected by technology, by modern day technology, has been movie theaters. We had let's say we had gaming consoles go from cartridges to CDs to Blu-ray to digital. And now digital is like literally putting GameStop out of business right now. We have the music industry. It went
Right.
from cassettes to radio to CDs to illegal digital downloads to legal downloads to streaming services. And now everyone who consumes music has typically, or not everyone, but I would say the vast majority of people who consume music have some form of subscription service or YouTube to consume their music. Radio's completely
Right,
almost
right.
right. The only industry that has not gone through that change has been the movie theaters, and it has nothing to do with the demand, because the demand is there. Everyone has a smart TV. Everyone is attuned to the subscription-based model. The only one who's preventing that from happening is Hollywood and the movie theaters, because they have the most. Hollywood doesn't have the most to lose, but the movie theaters do have the most to lose. There's no reason for us to actually go to movie theaters anymore. None
Right.
whatsoever. You pay $15 for a movie ticket, for one movie ticket, and to get a combo for popcorn and a drink, it's $15 on average.
Right.
I'm paying $30 minimum.
Yeah, and when you talk money like that, yeah, there's a lot of money involved just to see one thing.
And think about how you used to go to the movies, like when you were in your 20s. You typically used to go out to eat first, right? Or
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to
You make a
you
day
used
of
to
it.
go out to do you go out to eat anymore?
Yeah. Well,
How often?
yeah, I mean,
Like before the movie, like if you and the kids were to
oh,
go out
no.
to eat,
We go get popcorn and sodas, candy, all
yeah,
that stuff.
that habit's not it's not there no more. Applebee's is literally going out of business because people
Yeah.
don't go there anymore. They're not the only ones, but I mean, it's a clear example. And that's a hot spot for movies. Going to movies is going to one of those, those dining places. Um, it's not feasible anymore, Goose. It's not. Give me a subscription where I'm paying $29.99 a month. It might be steep, but $29.99 a month, and let me stream movies that are in the movie theater today, day one.
Yeah.
Come, problem
Then you
solved.
get the option.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap up this week, man. Inside the ring, outside the ring, a lot of stuff going on this week.
Yeah.
Next week, our show's pretty good. We got a go home show. It's I think it's next week. Yeah, next week's the week before WrestleMania. So we'll have a solid show for you. We're gonna come with our predictions. The card should be solidified by Tuesday night.
We hope
100% solidified. Which I'm gonna be curious about who we all think is gonna win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the trash Battle Royal, because it doesn't get you anything at all. There's no point. It's just a battle royal to have on a pay-per-view. And then we're gonna next week we're gonna talk about. I want to talk about, if I remember, we're gonna talk about the length, of WrestleMania, because that shit starts at like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon and goes on till 11 o'clock at night. We'll talk about if it's too long, too short. Anything else you want to chime in on, Sage, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so Goose, I know this is kind of on the fly, but we need to start our contest for the WrestleMania, because we kind of botched that from last week, unfortunately. That's my fault.
It's all
But
good.
I'd put a poll on we put a poll on man, my phrasing is terrible this week. We put it to the people on what they would like to have for our next contest. And
It was a game.
overwhelmingly it was merch from either WWE or AEW. So we're gonna go ahead and do a t-shirt from either one of those for the winner. Any size t-shirt, nothing beyond a t-shirt. Just covering our bases there. But we need a criteria, Goose, and I was wondering if you could provide one, since you're pretty good at that.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we do this.
I'd have to sit and think about this one, because
You can't sit and think too
Yeah, I'd
long.
have to
You gotta announce it today, so I can start the paperwork, son. How about if you're looking for, if you want to get if you want a chance to win an AEW shirt, how about you tell us when they eventually ink a deal, a TV deal, what network do you think is actually going to pick them up?
Wow, you're thinking much easier than me. Okay, you know what? Yeah. And let's get interactive. I'd like to respond to that too. So hit us up at Real WrestleCast. The poll is up there, and tell us. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
We got to come on with
Hit
one
us
for
up.
WWE shirt.
But do we really? Because I feel like WrestleMania now is a wrestling weekend. Because
Okay.
AEW in the future, ROH, there's so many wrestlers in town and so many small wrestling shows. So if we're gonna give away a free T-shirt, yeah, I kind of like that idea. Just hit us up and let us know what network AEW will be on, if any, and why. At Real WrestleCast. And then from there, clearly just your name off your response gets you entered in the pot. And we'll go from there. That's a good one. That's a good one. The AEW and which channel will be on. Because I'll respond in our tweets and probably disagree or agree. But yeah, that gives us good feedback to get.
Cool.
You agree?
Yeah, it's cool. So I'll for the podcast listeners, if you're listening to the audio version, make sure that you hop onto YouTube. Link will be in the description of this video or of this audio that you're listening to. But go on there, look for episode 115, and just put a comment on there saying, hey, what channel you think TNA, what channel you think AEW is going to appear on. I'll also do for our YouTubers, I will do a separate video, and you can just respond to that video as well. The instructions on the criteria to win will also be in the description above. So be sure to check that out.
Yep. So tons of stuff. Again, like we mentioned earlier, tons of stuff going on this week. Before we close up, let's go ahead and wrap it up for this week. But the Conor McGregor thing, is that fake?
Yeah, man. You ain't getting me to bite on that, man. He put pina coladas, PC, as in performance center. Come on, man. That's too easy, bro. Too easy.
You think he ends up in WWE?
I think he'll do a special appearance someday, but I don't think he's going to retire, man. I don't put.
Yeah, I'm in the same.
Although he's going through some legal troubles right now, dude. Some bad stuff.
A bunch of stuff going on. Yeah, great week in wrestling. Hit us up at Real WrestleCast 419-777-IRWP. We had a pretty interesting call this week that turned out to be shitty spam. So hit us up 419-777-IRWP at Real WrestleCast. That's the best way to reach us. Hey, we just told us hit us up. Where will AEW sign a TV deal and why? Simple. That's why we like doing Twitter, because you got to keep it short with the characters. I'm your boy Ben Goosen. That's your boy Sage Mark. Keep it real.
Guerrero. The spam out of here.
Hey, it's your boy Ben Goosen, messing up the audio track. It's so I can come to you live. Because the thing is when I mess up these audio tracks, did I really mess it up? No. It's so I can talk to you live without Sage Mark on the line. Thoughts and opinions are expressed are that of the IRWP and not of Sage Mark and Ben Goosen. Hey, hit us up at Real WrestleCast. We're going silent this week. No background music, so you can listen to me at Real WrestleCast. 419-777-IRWP. Give us a call. You'll be on the show. Or hey, if you just want to be a guest on the show, hit us up. 419-777-IRWP or at Real WrestleCast. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify. You know what? It's easier if you just go to Google and type in It's Real Wrestling Podcast or go to wherever you listen to your podcast. Hey, again, I'm your boy Ben Goosen. Sage Mark was with me today. Y'all, keep it real.